Hi guys, welcome back to another episode of Keeping It Casual with the Girl in Gucci Glasses. It's your host Jasmine, and I am joined again today by a friend of the pod and all-around great friend, Dr. Sarah Ashite, a board-certified family physician here in the Dallas-Fort Worth Metroplex. Today we are going to be sitting down and talking about stress because it's something that affects us all, regardless of where you are in life. So I really just wanted to get a pulse check, see how we're doing, see how we're feeling, and talk about some easy breezy, beautiful techniques that can help us recenter and realign. So please join me in welcoming back Dr. Sarah Ashite to today's episode. Welcome.
Thank you for having me. It's always great to be here.
Of course. And how are you doing? What's new as of late? How are you feeling?
I'm actually very happy that we're talking about keeping calm and working on that because life these days can be very stressful. There's a lot happening in the news. There's a lot happening with life, and it's good to come back to yourself and, be present and calm. And so, day by day, doing the best we can, all of us.
Absolutely agree. And I know that for me, some days you just got to take it one day at a time. And that's completely okay. I used to love being one of those people that mapped everything out years at a time. I don't know why. That's kind of weird when you look back. But now I'm like, you know what? Take life as it comes. Have a little dash of planning, but don't stress things because life has a weird way of working out. So,
I feel like that's the end of the episode right there.
I guess it kind of is.
Do we even have to have the rest of this? That was great. Yeah. Things do work out.
They really do. Like,
right.
You can stress about things, but ultimately everything will work out. And in the end, you get, if nothing else, a great story to tell and a little bit of learning.
Right. I like that.
Yeah. Because I used to be super high stress. I am definitely I have high energy. So that's never going to change. But I used to be so stressed about all of the things. And I was like, life is short. Like, I don't want to spend the bulk of my life being like, oh shit, like, what, like, just frazzled running around everywhere or freaking out about things that ultimately don't matter. I'm just here for the vibes.
And I tell people, the evidence is that you're here and whatever it is that you've gone through in the past, you actually survived it, right?
Yeah.
And so when you look at the bulk of the evidence, all this stuff that we were worried about, that we constantly are so concerned about, that we give this energy like it's the end of the world. I mean, we're here, right? You made it. We're here. So.
And that's honestly a big accomplishment. So if you're ever like struggling, just like hone in on the fact that you're still here, you made it, and you're doing great. So let's kind of just jump right in. 40 million adults are struggling actively with anxiety, which is a huge number, I feel like. So I think, of course, our society is continuing to destigmatize anxiety and mental health as a whole, but anxiety has a variety of, I don't know if you want to say triggers or things that can cause it. So I think everyone has some kind of, I'm not trying to mass diagnose. I'm not the doctor in this episode, but I think everyone has a sprinkle of anxiety in their life. So I really just wanted to sit down and talk about things that can kind of help us when we're feeling a little tense or stressed or frazzled, because life can be a bit much. And I know you touched on the news earlier. I hate to sound ignorant, especially as a former political science major, but sometimes the news can be a little heavy. And I personally find that I have to take it with a little sprinkle. I cannot sit there and read because it's like doom scrolling. You're like, oh my God.
I have whole periods of time where I'm like, I see the news on, I just walk the opposite direction. I'm not trying to take it in because
it's heavy.
Yeah, it can be, Yeah. I need to know what road to not drive on today.
And in Dallas, that's really important.
And then the rest of it, I'll figure it out at my own pace when I'm ready to consume that information.
I like that, and I think that's a great way to live, honestly. So, all right, let's just jump into our questions of the day.
All right.
Let's start with my favorite, supplements. I, as always, love L-theanine, and of course you can talk to our lovely listeners about what that is and the benefits. But before we get there, what are your thoughts on supplements, and what are some of the ones that you're loving?
So again, I say this all the time.
Talk to your family practice doctor. I'm going to say it for you.
Yes. Okay. So always talk to your doctor, but also remember the term supplement, right? It is supplementing something else. It is not your treatment. And so I don't want it to come off as though what we're going to talk about as treatment for anxiety or stress. But there's some things that you can take that can help keep you calm. And L-theanine is one, again, in our practice that we recommend a lot. It works great for several patients. Love it. I've used it in the Him and Hers supplement, and I actually really, really love it. I have a little bit of flight anxiety, and I know.
Same, girl, same.
Listen, I'll talk to my therapist about that one. But I found it helpful. I used it on my flight back home to Ghana, and it was great. Ashwagandha is another supplement that I recommend for patients. Chamomile tea has some great stuff. Lavender, believe it or not, is not just doesn't just smell good, but actually there are lavender supplements that you can take that can. Yes, not just the smell. And now it's interesting, right? The smell is very calming, but you can actually take a lavender supplement to help you feel calm.
Oh, wow. I knew about all of those things except the lavender supplement. So there you go. I might be trying that out later, you guys. So stay tuned. That's really good to know. And as for the flight anxiety, same. I just did some traveling this month, and I didn't realize, because I've never had an issue. I'm a lifetime traveler, like military brat, traveled since literally I could walk. And I don't know. I was like, but maybe that's part of aging. Who knows? So
I have no idea either. I'm like, I don't even know where that came from, because same thing. I've traveled since first grade, sometimes unaccompanied. You know, I've been back in the day when it was cool for the kids to be in the cockpit with the pilot.
Yeah.
You know, I've done all of that. So don't know where this is from, but anyway, yeah.
Love it. So let's now talk about breathing techniques, because breath is something that sounds so simple and that we don't really think about, right? Because we're just doing it, like we don't think about it, but it can also be a powerful tool for recentering. So what are some ways to, if you find yourself frazzled, you're stressed, you're like and you're really just having an out of body experience, and you're like, okay, I need to rein this in, what are some techniques we can do?
Yeah, so breath work is very important, as you talked about. It's a great way to kind of come back to yourself. If you think about it, oftentimes when people are having, full on either panic attacks, which are actually clinical, or feeling very stressed, you're activating the sympathetic system. Your body is acting as it's that fight or flight, like something terrible is happening. You are in danger. But the truth is, most of the time, you're not imminently in danger, right? So for instance, if someone's shooting, please, I need you to run in the opposite direction. That is not the time to start your breathing techniques.
So use common sense, you guys, clearly.
But for most things that we encounter in our day-to-day, we're not imminently in danger, right? And so when you start to slow down and take deep breaths in, and then through your nose, and then out through your mouth, and just kind of, you're coming back to yourself and realizing I'm okay. And sometimes, reciting things, affirmations to yourself while you take your deep breaths in and out. I go to YouTube sometimes for my patients and show them different places where they can get short 2-3 minute breathing exercises that they can do. Another thing that I love is emotional freedom tapping. So tapping comes from Chinese medicine, of course, and you're kind of tapping on different acupressure points. I actually do tapping as well before sleep, and so there's an area, up here is one area, and down here, try that. Just tap. Well, you've got your hat.
Okay, I'm doing it for you guys. I might have a little bit of messy hair, but
okay. Go ahead and start tapping here,
and as top, but that's okay.
As hard or as little as you need, and then coming over here and just tapping, and then over on this side. And again, it's just, you're tapping on different acupressure points, but you're bringing yourself back to yourself. And sometimes there are different, affirmations that can go with that, but it's very calming. The thing about tapping that I love is the more that you do it, the more that your body gets used to that. So I, at times, do that as part of my bedtime routine. And even just starting here, my brain already is like, all right, Sarah, let's calm down. It's like a great place to go.
This is now going to be part of my day-to-day routine. Great. So one of our last questions from a listener was, what are you loving for keeping calm? And obviously we just talked about supplements, But I know for me, in addition to supplements, I do love a good face mist. I like to I don't know, I like to feel something on my face when I'm
Does
feeling
that one
stressed.
have rose in it? Or?
I honestly haven't looked at the ingredients, but I like how it makes me feel. And it's actually from a Dallas brand, Après Beauty, and it's just, let's see, hydrating mist and shake well when empty. Oh, I love that it's recyclable. And yeah, how did you know? Rose water. She just knows these things. That's funny because I don't even think the intention is for anxiety, but like if I feel stressed or just need to cool down, I literally just and I'm like, and of course, like we said, love the supplements and I love journaling. I feel like journaling, like if you come to my apartment, you will see this as soon as you sit down on my couch because I always have a journal near my bed and near the couch because I want to be able to like write down how I'm feeling, what I'm thinking about, and what's on my mind. And even if it's a good day, bad day, whatever, it just helps me. And I think writing things down is so therapeutic. So love it.
There's a lot of science behind journaling. In fact, when patients cannot access, counseling or therapy, say, look, we can start with journaling. We can start with what you have. You don't even have to have a fancy journal. Just pick up your pen and pencil or whatever your writing tool is, paper, whatever you have, and just start writing. How am I feeling today? How did my day go? Process what it is that's going on. We don't take enough time these days to be with ourselves. We're everywhere else. We're working so hard. Sometimes we're having a good time with people, but we're not really taking time to be with ourselves and process how we're feeling. And, journaling is a great way that you can do that.
Funny enough, because I know we're definitely both busy people respectively in our industries, I had to, and I actually learned this from a therapist I had back in the day, I had to learn how to make appointments with myself. Like I would set a calendar alert and be like, whether it's to do 10, 15 minutes of journaling, or if it's to say, this is my time, I don't want to go out tonight. Because I don't want to say, no, I still have sometimes an issue with saying no. I'm working on my boundaries. That's something I'm trying to be better about. But it used to be a lot worse. And so what I had to do was set a calendar alert like on Friday nights or whatever. And it was like, okay, I have plans. It's Jasmine's date night. And I just want to stay in. Or maybe I do want to go have dinner, but I want to just do something low key by myself. I don't want to go out to the bar. I don't know. I've kind of also outgrown that. I don't know. It's turning 30 is weird, you guys. But no, I would just be like, okay, this is my way to nicely say, hey, I've got plans without feeling like I'm lying because, hey, I do have plans. And also just honor a commitment to myself and just, it works for me. So
I love that. Now I do the Morning Mindset Journal by Angie Wisdom. Love it. And the whole idea is every morning you're waking up to yourself. You wake up and you have time with yourself before anything else. And whenever I do it consistently, my days go so much more smoother because the first thing that I'm doing is checking in. Okay, I've got up. How do I feel? Right. And then the next thing I'm doing is what are my intentions for the day? How do I want the day to go? And so if I'm like, you know what, I want it to feel positive. So then what do I have to do in order to make that? So just spending time with yourself, with journaling, with prompts in the morning is a great way as well.
Awesome. Now, obviously, I think if you feel yourself always having, or more than a couple of times, panic attacks or excessive anxiety, definitely talk to your family practice doctor for sure. But for the most part, is there anything else people can do on their day-to-day to just keep calm, keep centered, and just manage that stress?
Yeah. Make sure we're not lonely. I think one of the things that was hard with the pandemic is that it really separated us. And loneliness, one, can affect your health overall. Did you know that people who are lonely, if they got an infection, are more likely to have an adverse event or even die compared to those who are not?
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So forming your communities, making sure that you're very well connected, whatever that is for you, be it your friend network or your family or your church, those things are very important because we're supposed to live supported. So that's one. Exercise, right? Very, very important. Movement. And a lot of times when we talk about exercise, people are thinking the gym. Come on, guys, exercise does not require a gym. If you like music and you like to dance, turn that music on and dance. That's your exercise. If you've got kids, play tag with them, you know? That's your exercise. If you love basketball, go do that. Whatever movement that you can do that you enjoy and you can do consistently, I mean, get that done. And let's not discount walking. In fact, it's one of the best things that you can do, natural movement. And so all of us, walk, dance, whatever that can look like for you that flows naturally into your day. All of those things are ways to kind of help calm stress.
Okay, to the note of exercise, something I started doing in the pandemic when we were at home, I have a walking pad. So it's basically like a treadmill, but I feel like it's a little small one. It's a mini, it's nothing fancy. And so if I have my like hour of reality TV time, like I like watching The Housewives shamelessly, or like Bling Empire, Selling Sunset.
I feel like that's another episode, but anyway.
I used to be a snot about not watching reality TV, and then I was like, no, life is crazy. I want something to laugh at and feel good about.
I watch Bling Empire.
I love Bling Empire. They have a new one where they're in New York.
I have seen a number of the episodes.
I'm on episode 2. So I love it. It's great. But no, because I used to have a problem with sitting still, even if I'm watching TV. Now I embrace stillness in whatever form that takes. But at the same time, I like to get a little exercise. And if I don't want to go to the gym that day or don't make it to Pilates, I will break up the walking pad while I'm watching Bling Empire. And I will do a little bit of walking during my episode. Get some steps.
Walking pad. So is this like a treadmill?
It's like a mini treadmill. Yeah. And you just walk.
And it's called a walking pad.
Yeah. It's like
not a treadmill.
Correct. $200 Amazon. You can probably find them cheaper.
Jeez, made my life better. Okay.
And then under my couch, like if you go to my apartment, you will see I have the dumbbells, and they're like these cute pastel pink because whatever, of course. And it's just like I have a set of 5 pound and a set of 10 pound. And this way, if I'm just sitting on the couch, I'm watching TV, I'm like,
yeah,
I don't know.
I love that.
So I can get movement while relaxing. I like that.
I'm getting this walking pad.
It's just anything that doesn't feel like a chore. I think when I can make movement or whatever I'm doing that I don't necessarily want to do, if I can make it fun, I'm like, all right, let's go on. And as you know, Bling Empire is pretty good.
I don't know what my brain cells think about that, but
you need time.
Yes,
like you need
everything. You need balance, 100%. And that's exactly what I use it for. Exactly.
I'm not trying to like mirror my life like that. I'm not trying to. It's a good disconnect because you know it works.
Entertainment, it works.
Exactly.
There's a time and a place for it, and it's good.
Exactly. It's not too catty. Like something I've noticed with some of the Housewives shows, I've had to be like, okay, I'm stepping back because this is getting a little too much. But I like lighthearted, fun TV sometimes. So there you have it. All right. Now let's kind of switch gears and talk about what happens if you don't manage your stress or your anxiety. I know in an earlier episode we kind of talked about sleep health and how if you let that go, it can manifest into diabetes, obesity, or heart conditions. With anxiety, even if it seems like just residual stress, like what happens when that builds up over time and you're not taking steps, whether it's small steps, big steps, whatever, to kind of work on that? What happens?
Yeah. You know, as we were talking, I realized I don't know that we made the distinction between stress and anxiety, right? You know, so we use the term anxiety sometimes interchangeably, but in the medical field, anxiety is a clinical, diagnosis, and it comes, you have panic as a form, or panic disorder, generalized anxiety disorder. But anxiety is when people really feel this heightened level of, we could say, stress without any trigger, right? But what most of us feel in our day-to-day is usually there's a trigger, either a deadline or something that we're concerned about that makes us feel like it's the end of the world almost. But usually once that, trigger goes away, we're fine. And so there's a little bit of a difference there. What was the question now that I've clarified that?
I just really wanted to talk through kind of like what happens when you let your stress or anxiety, like you don't take care of it and you let it get a hold of you. Like what can manifest after that? Because although we don't want to give you guys anxiety, we also want to talk about like why you should take it seriously. Don't brush it off, because I think sometimes people will be like, oh, it's just stress. That's part of being an adult. It's normal. Like, man up, toughen up. And it's like, that's actually not healthy. It's not a good mindset. So let's talk about like why you should take how you feel serious.
Yeah. No, even your heart health is affected by chronic stress or chronic anxiety. And there is a doctor who noticed that his patients who seemed more content or calm had less of a heart inflammatory marker that we measure that tells you what your risk or your risk of heart disease is. He noticed that his calmer patients seemed to have a lower level, but his patients who seemed to be under more stress had higher levels. And so he did a study where he put them into two arms. One group of patients he had write gratitude journaling every day, full circle.
Wow.
And the other group of patients, he just, had them do their regular whatever they do. Brought them back months later, measured their markers, and those who had started gratitude journaling had lower levels. Yeah. So I recently had a medical student, I love teaching, that was following me. And one of the things she said to me was like, oh yeah, this patient has anxiety, this is their level, but it's not bothering them, right? And I said to her,
high functioning anxiety.
I said, well, we have to talk about that, because the patient may feel like this is what their everyday is, but there's something better. And even though they may say it's not bothering them, there's stuff going on in the inside. So it's not just a matter of how you feel. There are actually chemical things that are happening in our body that are not healthy for us when we're living under constant stress.
Wow, that's good to know. So let's touch on the gratitude journals. I know we kept it kind of basic with just traditional journaling. Fun fact, at work, again, I'm kind of crunchy. I feel like that's just, it is what it is. We all have gratitude journals in the marketing department. And like, we're not as consistent as we should be all the time, but we will break it out, especially if we have the time or if we just feel like we need to like take a moment, be present in gratitude and like express it. So I love that you're talking about gratitude. And at home, in addition to my regular journals that are like, I call them a blank slate. So I can do my doodles in it. I can write about how I'm feeling, whatever, or how my day was. But I also have specific journals for gratitude. And I think that's so cool that it's something that can just make us feel better and help us overall.
Absolutely. Good for you.
I love
You're doing all the things. I love it.
But it happened gradually. It didn't happen overnight. Like I had to try a bunch of things. Like the saying goes, I think it's a saying, at least in Texas, where you throw spaghetti at the wall and see what sticks. I don't know how that became a saying, by the way, because ew, sounds like a mess. But that's what I did. I was like, okay, let's try this, let's try that. And, journaling, supplements, and sound baths are things that I love. I love a good sound bath. If I can't physically make it to one, I will do it at home on the TV. I will shut all the lights down, put my diffuser on, and put Aloe Moves on. They have like lots of sound baths. There's this girl, I think her name is Susie. She does a great sound bath. And I'll just do it from the comfort of my home if I can't go make it to a physical sound bath. And so all the things to keep centered for sure. But it's the process. You got trial and error.
Process for sure. Progress over perfection.
100%. Because I feel like back in the day when I was just starting out in adulthood, I was so stressed all the time. Like I would be running around the office, working late, and then trying to balance that with like having a social life, because this is young Jasmine in her 20s. I mean, I'm still young, but this is like 20-something-year-old Jasmine going across Dallas, like trying to have, a good social life, a good dating life, and then working and doing Super Bowl ads. And then while I'm out at 1 a.m. being able to have fun with my friends, but then answer an email if someone's like, hey, change this ad ASAP. So I as I was coming closer to my 30s, was like, okay, girl, let's have a heart to heart, sit down and talk about how you're actually feeling and what's sustainable. And so now I'm like, okay, let me take care of myself, my sleep health. You will be hard pressed to find me out at 1 a.m. now. And I just, balance, that's life.
Love it.
So, all right. Well, these are some good tips and tricks. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on when it comes to stress, anxiety, and just overall mental health?
I feel like we covered a lot of great ground, but I also just want to overemphasize that one, if you're feeling anxious and stressed, to not feel bad about it. It's part of the human condition. You are human. but also to reach out for help if you've tried all the things, that we've mentioned today and you're not quite feeling like you're getting over a hump, especially if your symptoms are persistent, there's no trigger. Contact your physician, see your primary care physician. And hey, if you're in Dallas, check me out at Southwest Family Medicine. I'll take care of you.
100%. I know I've actually come to see you several times. So you're the best doctor for sure. But okay, that was good to like just talk through. And again, like she said, like don't feel any shame or weird feelings about how you feel. It's okay to have feelings of, hey, I'm a little overwhelmed. I'm feeling happy. I'm feeling sad. I'm feeling this. I'm feeling that. Like, feel your feels, embrace it. And then if you feel like you definitely need someone to talk to and work through things with, call your doctor. Or if you don't have one and you're in Dallas, like she said, give Dr. Ashton a ring because it matters and you deserve to feel great all the time, not just sometime. So I think this was a great episode. I hope you guys liked it. We talked about a lot of different ways to kind of manage stress, anxiety, and just feel good. And yeah, I don't really have anything else to kind of touch on. Per usual, I feel like we cover a lot of ground.
I agree, and you did great. I love the way you ended it.
Love. All right, you guys. So I will, of course, link Dr. Ashate's links in the episode description. But that's pretty much it. So if you have anything that you'd like us to talk about, because as much as I love a good, fun, sassy episode, I do like to have at least one monthly episode where we talk about our health and whatever form that takes, because I do think it's important. And from what you guys have sent in for feedback, you actually like hearing these things as well. So I think that's great. Because you got to take charge of your health. Your health is your wealth, and you only have one body and one life, so let's take care of it. In the meantime, it's been another episode of Keeping It Casual with the Girl in Gucci Glasses. I'm your host, Jasmine, and today I was joined by the gal to my Oprah, Dr. Sarah Ashate, and I will see you guys next time, so have a beautiful day. Bye.
Bye.